Welcome to this Syncfusion React PDF Viewer tutorial. In this video, you'll learn how to redact sensitive content using the React PDF Viewer. This video includes an overview of redaction, how to add a redaction annotation, update its properties, delete a redaction annotation, apply page-level redaction, permanently remove content using the redact action, and add comments to redaction annotations. You'll also see how to perform all these actions using the built-in toolbar, using the built-in comment panel, and programmatically within the PDF Viewer. Redaction annotations are used to conceal sensitive content in a PDF, such as personal details, financial data, or classified information, to ensure privacy and legal compliance. First, I will open an existing React application, which already has the basics set up for the Syncfusion React PDF Viewer. To learn how to get started with a component, check out the video link provided in the card above, or the description below. Now, I'll run the application. As you can see, PDF is displayed in the viewer along with the built-in toolbar of the React PDF Viewer. By default, the redaction option is not available in the toolbar. To enable this option, I define a list of toolbar items that includes the default tools such as Open, Page Navigation, Magnification, Selection Tool, and more. I've also added the Redaction toolbar item and set Show Tooltip to True to enable the tooltip. Then, I assign this list to the toolbar settings property and save the application. As you can see, the redaction icon now appears on the toolbar. When I click it, a secondary toolbar opens with multiple redaction options. Let me walk you through them. First, I click the Mark for Redaction option and draw over the area in the PDF that needs to be redacted. To update the redaction annotation properties, I click the Redaction panel option in the toolbar. This opens a properties overlay with two sections, General and Appearance. From here, you can control both the redaction behavior and its visual styling. You can also right-click the redaction annotation to open the same properties overlay. In the General tab, I change the fill color. And in the Appearance tab, I select an outline color. I click the Save button to save the changes. As you can see, the appearance of the annotation is updated. Now, let's delete a redaction annotation. For this, I select the annotation I want to remove and click the Delete button. This removes it from the PDF. To apply redaction to entire page, I first use the Open File option to open a different PDF document. Then, I click the Redact Pages option. This opens a dialog with a page range selector that provides options such as current page, odd pages only, even pages only, and specific pages. I choose to redact the current page. And as you can see, the page is now redacted. I'm going to add a comment to the redaction annotation. For this, I right-click the annotation, choose the comment option from the overlay, and then add the comment. To apply the redaction annotation to the document permanently, I click the Redact button. This removes the underlying content. Next, I will show you how to programmatically add a redaction annotation to a PDF document. To begin, I remove the code that enables the redaction annotation item in the toolbar. Instead, I add a layout that displays the React PDF Viewer title on the left and a button for adding a redact annotation on the right. I create a reference variable for the PDF Viewer component to interact with it programmatically. And I assign this variable to the ref property of the PDF Viewer. I define the Add Redact Annotation click event handler. In this method, I first check whether the viewer instance is available, and then create a variable to store the viewer instance. I use the annotation module and call the Add Annotation method. Here, I set the annotation type to redaction and provide the settings for creating the redaction. I define the bound property to set the redaction's position and size, and I specify the page number where it should appear. Then, I configure its appearance by setting the marker fill color, border color, fill color, and the overlay text that will be displayed inside the redaction. I also set the font color, font family, and font size. I set the Before Redactions Applied flag to false indicating that this is a newly added redaction, and the content underneath hasn't been removed yet. When I click this button, it adds a redaction annotation to the PDF document. Next, I will edit this redaction annotation programmatically. I add a button for editing the annotation and define its on-click event handler. In this method, I first check whether the viewer instance is available, and then create a variable to store the viewer instance. I retrieve all the annotations from the PDF using the annotation collection property. From the returned list, I select the first annotation. I check whether the annotation type is redaction. If so, I update the redaction-specific properties such as overlay text, marker fill color, marker border color, is repeat flag, and the fill color. I modify general annotation properties like font size, font color, font family, and text alignment. Then, I apply the changes in the PDF viewer using the edit annotation method. When I click this button, the redaction annotation is updated with the new settings. Now, I'll show you how to delete this redaction annotation programmatically. I add a delete button and define its on-click event handler. Inside this method, I first check whether the viewer instance is available. Then, I retrieve the annotation collection from the PDF viewer and get the annotation from the list. If an annotation ID is available, I call the delete annotation by ID method to remove it. When I click this button, the annotation is deleted from the PDF viewer. Next, let's see how to redact pages. First, I update the document path and add a button labeled Add Page Redaction. Then, I define its on-click event handler. Inside this method, I reuse the existing code with a few modifications. I call the Add Page Redactions method and pass the page number that I want to redact. When I click this button, the specified page is redacted in the PDF viewer. Lastly, I'll show you how to apply redaction to remove content permanently. I start by adding a redact button. Then, I define its on-click event handler. Inside this handler, I reuse the existing code with modifications. I call the redact method to remove the content permanently. When I click the button, the selected content is permanently removed from the document. That's a wrap. In this video, I have shown you how to redact PDF content using the Syncfusion React PDF Viewer. You can download this video's working example from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also shared a link where you can learn about obtaining a free license key to use our PDFViewer SDK if you are eligible for our community license. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.